My guest today is Folasayo Falola, a dynamic and multifaceted personality. Fola and I met a couple of years ago on a WhatsApp group I created for young women aged 18 to 35 called Figure 8 Connect. She was an active member of the community. One lovely evening, sometime in 2021, Fola sent a message telling everyone how she had called off her wedding that was supposed to happen in a week's time. That message was quite heavy and very audacious. A lot of us were wondering what must have gone wrong, what happened, and how was she navigating it. In the midst of all the drama, Fola was very certain that she had made the right decision by not marrying her fiancé at the time. In a world where women are often pressured to get married early, Fola shares her experiences with us and the lessons this experience taught her. I learned so much from this conversation and I hope you enjoy it too. So without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Hi, I'm God's Delight Agu and this is the Only Neat podcast. Being a woman is hard enough, but being a woman in Africa, even harder. You're expected to be a good daughter, a good wife, a good mother, and still slay in your career. There are expectations from everywhere: family, friends, culture, society, religion, the list goes on. And every day we face challenges: physical, emotional, financial, and even professional. Sometimes you stop and wonder, is all of this even worth it? Onion It is a podcast where African women tell unfiltered stories of resilience, healing, and truth in their own words. We're here to help women own their stories, the good, the bad, and the ugly. As a storyteller and lover of stories myself, I'll be inviting some of my female friends and women I deeply admire. Together, we'll laugh, cry, unlearn, and grow as they share the battles they fought, the boldness it took to become who they are. If you've ever felt unseen, unheard, or unworthy, this space is for you. New episodes drop every Wednesday, so be sure to subscribe and join the conversation every week. Like Michelle Obama once said, your story is what you have, what you always have. It is something to own. So let's own it together. Welcome to the Owning It podcast. Fola, you're welcome to the Owning It podcast. I'm so excited to have you here today. So, to a lot of our listeners, this is the first time they'll probably be meeting you. So, can you introduce yourself to them? Tell us about yourself.
Hi, Buki. Thank you so much for having me on here today. Um, so for the readers out there or for the listeners out there, my name is Folasayo Falola. I'm also known as Mystique. I'm a dance and creative genius who is passionate about helping dancers and creatives hit their highest potential, both online and offline. Um, I'm a graduate of University of Lagos. I graduated with bachelor's in art from Creative Arts Department, and I also have a diploma in dance from Society of Performing Arts Nigeria, and I right now I'm in process of building different branches which cater to different creative needs. So that's just like a summary of who I am and what I do.
All right. It's so exciting to have you here today, Miss Fola. I'm so excited to have you. Thank you so much for introducing yourself. So, in 2021, something happened which is quite interesting. You're going to be the first guest I'm bringing on the Only Needs podcast, and I'm so excited we're having this conversation. So when I did the introductory episode, I talked about how there's always a lot of pressure on African women. And one of those pressures that we face is when you reach a certain age, everybody's like, when will you marry? You get. So I know you've walked that path. You've been in a relationship that's resulted in almost a marriage. and we'll just be on that WhatsApp group that day when you dropped the bombshell of, hey guys, I just called off my wedding. I'm like, okay, who is this girl? So I don't know if you can walk us down memory lane, take us back to 2021. What exactly happened? What's led to that? Like, out of the blues, why did you call off your engagement? And just share that story with us, because a lot of sisters would love to know, because it's not something you see every day.
Sometimes you feel like some memories are best kept buried. But I mean, if we're going down memory lane, I would say like I was always the kind of growing up as a girl. I've always um envisioned having a wedding, you know. But I never really thought about the marriage after the wedding. I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense to you. I always envisioned what my wedding would look like, a long gown, the fancy dress, the decorations, and all of that. But I never really gave a thought to marriage, like what is marriage, what entails in marriage. So this was about 4 years ago. And first things first, I remember the the very first week after ca- um canceling the marriage, the wedding rather, and how I cried like every single day, like every single day. I just, it was a lot for me. And the truth of the matter is that nobody wanted me to get married to this guy because sadly enough, after the wedding was cancelled, my family decided that the champagne that was meant to be popped for the wedding will be popped in celebration of the fact that the wedding was cancelled. So, truth of the matter is, nobody actually wanted me to get married to this particular man. And the story is quite complicated in a lot of ways. But I mean, for 3, 4 years after, I'm glad it didn't happen. And sometimes I would just tell somebody out there who is forcing themselves into a relationship because they feel like they have to be in a relationship just to prove that okay, they're making progress in life, that it is better to be single and happy than to be married and unhappy. Married is, and the best one is to be married and happy. So while being single, if truly you want to get married, you need to actually prepare for marriage. Marriage should not be something you stumble into. If you don't want to get married, that is all right too, right? It's because this journey of life is between us and God at the end of the day. There are people who have been successful married, and there are people who have been successful unmarried. But to go into marriage unprepared, or because you are pushed or forced into it, is one of the worst things you can do to yourself. Don't do it. So, but marriage is a beautiful thing. It is truly beautiful if and only if it a is from a place where the two parties are sorry, I'm a Christian, so I'm going to use this. They say, can two work together unless they agree? So if the two parties can work together to agree to become one, then marriage is a truly beautiful thing. But if that is not the case, then there's no need for that pressure. Just take a deep breath, you know? So going down that memory lane, I'm glad that I did not make that decision. Like every day, I thank God. I say yes, thank you, thank God I didn't do that. Thank God I didn't put because there were so many factors to put into place why that marriage was cancelled. It wasn't just from him; it was also from me. It was not a one-sided thing. But I'm glad it did not happen, and I'm glad from the growth that has happened since then.
This experience, at the time it happened, how old were you, if you like to share? Do you think you were like too young or
I mean, I would not like to share my age. I was definitely old enough for marriage. As at that time, in fact, that particular year, like almost six of my friends got married at around the same time my wedding was cancelled.
okay?
Yes, so I was not young at all. s- Old enough.
So would you say it was like pressure, like internal pressure?
It was internal, it was external. I mean, I would get home
Okay.
and in the most random conversations, the way they do it now, these African fathers, the most random conversation. They just say, if your husband was here now, and then you look around. Then for me, the internal pressure was seeing all my friends getting married. This minute you are get buying this actual AP for this person. Next minute, this person said a message that they are getting married tomorrow. Next, this person is telling you they want you to be in their bridal train and all of that. So your mind, you're already thinking, okay, me too now. When will I call people and tell them I want them to be on my bridal train? Me too. When will I do this? Me too. When will I do that? So the pressure was from outside, but the pressure was also from inside. So, like I said before, the pressure wasn't even on getting married so much more as doing a wedding, to prove to I don't know who, but to just prove a point, right? That you said we can do wedding, that kind of thing. So yeah, it was both external, it was an internal thing, it was all around.
Okay. So it was the pressure both internally and externally. Okay. So at what point did you realize that Omo I can't really get into the what were some of the red flags or warning signs that actually made you see that polio this is really dangerous?
Ah,
Because it takes a lot of balls to do what you did, honestly.
ah, well, there were a lot. The first was that as a person, that's internally now a warning sign that I got personally was that I could not, it was like I became stunted in the testing I was. I don't know how to explain that to you, but for someone who on a normal basis, if you know me a lot, yes, I might be quite reserved, but I'm actually expressive, you know. So even in my creativity was suffering. I wasn't able to be as expressive as I usually am. That's like the warning sign within myself. Like I was losing. I mean, we're not married yet, and I was already losing my essence. So, me, I'm a firm believer that a marriage is 1 plus 1 equals to one, because Bible says the two shall become one. So I don't believe any of the parties should lose their essence in a marriage. It's just like that the two of them should be able to still retain their essence and just merge it together to become one. But if one person has to lose themselves for the other person, there will always be that problem in the marriage, going down the line. So that was the first warning sign about it. This second warning sign was that um he I mean we would have arguments. I mean, we're not married yet, but the arguments were non-stop. Like non-stop. How like that's like how can one even have peace of mind like when every single day it's one argument after the other. Like it was non-stop. And then there was something that happened and he started threatening that he was going to cancel the marriage. Like he was going to cancel the wedding. And I was like, okay, if you're going to cancel the wedding, then I'll do it myself. So I was just like, okay. And funny enough, like all my family members were like really in support of it because they saw that they saw the constant fighting, they saw this constant arguments, they saw that I was no longer myself. And they were like, just do it, right? And then when the wedding was cancelled, it now became a thing of he was threatening to kill himself and kill me too if we don't get him married. You don't do them get married. And I was like, nah, I'm not doing this. So to be honest, I ran away from where I was staying then and I had to start life like all over again in a new place. I just like use that time to heal and get myself. So yeah, the red flags were a lot right from the beginning. And part of the reasons why, like I said again, even though the red flags were glaring, I mean the constant arguments were very visible to everybody. Nobody liked it. Like there was even a time when there was also like this misunderstanding of later on we found out that he had a child. Later on we found out that he was lying about his age. Later on we found out that he was um he was married safe. Yes, yes, because my yes, we later found that that was like towards like the and even he couldn't about the age he couldn't even get like his birth certificate like it was messy. It was really messy and I feel very embarrassed, like literally I saw everybody saw it was messy, but I stuck with it that long, not because I did not see the red flags, but because I was holding on to the fantasy of the wedding. So, and the fantasy of being able to say, oh, I'm married.
I'm married, yeah. Hmm. And
So I held,
not caring what it was doing to you.
yes, just being able to at least be among the people that say, okay, when they are talking, they say, Mrs. You be a Mrs. You know, uh, so, so yes, that's why I stuck with it that long. Honestly, it shouldn't have stayed that long.
When you said that long, how long exactly? Like
I mean,
relationship?
it wasn't really long though, but like because it shouldn't even have reached the point where we were even. When I mean that long, I mean to the point of already planning and we've already we've already done everything, put all the plans in place, venue, all of that in place, and then just have it cancelled. So that was that long, knowing all the factors that were in place, like the visible glaring factors in place. Do you understand? So for me, it's not really about the length of like the relationship, much more that it went that far. Okay, let me not say that long, but that far. It's going as far as getting married knowing that that relationship was not healthy for either of us. So I'm not even blaming him. I'm not blaming myself because, like I said, we fought every single time. There was constant argument every single time, like every single. I've not, I've not, I can't remember the last time I had constant arguments with people like that often, but like, ah, when you just really want to hold on to that status, you just really want to hold on to that status of being married, you would literally do anything. So yeah, that's that's it. That now that marriage is much better than that. Marriage is much deeper than that. And if I'm getting married now, I know that I still want a wedding. Funny enough, I asked myself that a few weeks back. I was like, okay, because like the wedding, it caused a lot of embarrassment too. A lot. So much so I had to change church. Yes, I had to because the drama around that was a bit too much for me. So I asked myself, am I ready to like go through a wedding again? And I'm like, yes, I want a wedding, but I don't want a wedding now because of the fact that I want to prove to anybody. I want a wedding because I want good memories to carry on in my marriage, you know. So right now I am more about being prepared for marriage, and most of the time any of my friends that are getting married, I tell them, see, wedding is just going to be one day. Most times if you ask people like, okay, the worst they'll say, they ate or they did not eat. Once people leave in the evening, bam bam, they go to their house. It's the two of it that will sit down and be looking at each other. Yes, it's true. After everything, the DJ will pack up, everybody will pack up, everybody will, whether they chop, they no chop, they go their house. Then the two of you will now sit down and be looking at each other. That is the point where you will now know whether you entered, if you are ready to face whatever decision it was you made. So yes, it's so for me right now. I'm more interested and invested in being ready for marriage, and then the wedding is just the icing on the cake, not the cake itself.
Mm, that's really nice. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. So I I just want us to talk a little bit about the reaction from people. So you've talked about it from your own point of view. You mentioned a bit that a lot of people were not in support of the relationship in the first place and they were happy that it didn't go through. But I'm thinking of something like Ashrebi, your friends, were they how did you communicate with them that okay, this is not happening again? No, how did they react? That kind of thing. How did it make you feel? Was there like any hurtful comments or things like that you just look back at and you're like, oh more?
Ah, well, actually, I had friends. The good thing is God has blessed me with friends. God has really blessed me with good friends. So when it happened, all those who had already bought my Ashwebi were just like, okay, no problem, just send down the material to us. We'll use it as so something like people. I've thoroughly school can always be worn. For some, they were like, okay, don't worry, just keep the material. But I had a, an issue concerning the wedding gown because um like there was a lot of drama around it. But at the end of I mean like the person that was, because the wedding gown was actually sponsored by someone, and in the whole process of the wedding being cancelled and all of that, and having to move away from where I was, the wedding gown got lost. So yes, it did. So that drama was quite a lot. I mean, the drama was quite a lot for like over a year and two. I was just struggling with having to pay off or those things that some of them had already, like the wedding gown. We still, even though the wedding didn't take place, we still had to balance up because you know it's not the seamstress fault, right? It's nobody's fault. So we still have to balance up, or and then there are some places where we're hoping we're going to get refund after the event will take place, but they're like, no refund, you've paid. So a lot of money was lost down the whole line, like a lot. There was a lot of no refundables. But like I said, when it came to things like Ashwebi, I'm just blessed with good friends who were like, okay, don't worry, we know it was cancelled. Okay, keep the material, or just send the material to us, or you know that kind of thing. So it was easy for me to get back on my feet because I had good friends who were there to like support me. From the beginning, my mom in particular was really, 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 really against the wedding. My mom, because she said she was having like lots of bad dreams concerning it. Yes, yeah, she kept. In fact, we spoke about it like if about a year ago, and she was like she had so many bad dreams concerning the wedding. So she in particular was like really, really against it. So even so much so that even as at that time I cancelled the wedding, my sibling had not yet sewn their clothes.
Hmm. This was how soon to the wedding. In how many weeks or months?
A week,
Just week.
yeah, like they were really not in support of it. So I mean, if nobody is in support of it, it makes no sense. But me, I'm a very stubborn person. No,
Yeah.
it just I kept holding on to it because I wanted to hold on to that illusion of
Getting married.
yes.
So I completely understand what you're saying, but I understand from your story that the decision wasn't even because people were not in support. The decision was largely because the red flags were very, very glaring. The relationship wasn't even smooth enough. It's not like, oh, us against the world. It
Yes. It was not yours against you.
it was like divided we stand, which don't worry most.
That kind of
Yeah. So it's so glad that we are talking about this and we are actually laughing. I know that you just mentioned something like it lingered on to like a year or two trying to settle bills and a lot of things. I can imagine how much that might have been on you emotionally. Must have been a whole lot.
not just emotionally, financially. Some people will literally harass, like especially when you are dealing with emotional this thing, and they are harassing you for their balance, and they don't give it. They don't like they're like on you, like you need to this, and you on one side you're trying to deal with that emotional baggage, and you get and you are still trying to like hustle for the money because you have to pay off. Yeah, so it was for like two years after I was still struggling to clear everything. But I would say right now it's mostly cleared. So yeah, right now I've moved on completely from it. It's just like one of those memories where you just like very, like I said, I haven't spoken about. In fact, I don't I think I said this at the beginning. I don't like talk about it. I just take it as one of those experiences that just happened, just to build you in life. And I just push it aside. So this is really the first time me like talking about it. So I keep it buried and
And I'm grateful that you're sharing this, to be honest, because I know there are a lot of sisters who will be listening and they'll be like, wow, this lady has balls. And you don't even know what kind of relationships they are in right now. Or, maybe like your situation, they're already engaged, they've invited guests and all of that. But deep inside themselves, they know that this is not really working, or there are a lot of red flags that I'm not comfortable with, but they are still gaslighting themselves into believing that, okay, everything is going to be fine. Just hearing your story alone might just give them the courage to, do the right
It's
thing
that
for
thing you
themselves.
said about gaslighting yourself.
Yes.
When you are trying to convince yourself, okay, I can change this person. I just need to pray more. I need to pray more in it. Or I need to change myself. It's because I've not see it. You know, and honestly, you might actually need to change yourself because the truth of matter is, before I entered into a new relationship, I had to change. I actually had to change. I needed to because I was like, yes, we fucked up once, you know. Yes, we agreed we fucked up once, but if we're not going to fuck up, it's just going to repeat itself again. So I had to be conscious and be like, I need to change some things about myself. I need to change the way I communicate. I need to, yes, before I entered into a new relationship, because I realized that, yes, I mean, yeah, he had his red flags, but I had mine too. To heal myself, to heal myself. I had to, like I said, learn to communicate. I had to learn to, yes, I had to learn to communicate better. I had to learn to compromise. I also had to learn like respect. I also had, there are things that before I entered into a new relationship, I actually had to change about
Work on yourself.
but if it was it's one thing for me to know that I need to work on myself, yes, and it's another thing for me to now be like thinking that I'm going to change. You cannot change nobody. People only change when they want to. So you can only change yourself. So if you are entering into this relationship or holding on to this relationship in the hope that you will change this person, it will not happen. You will not change that person. You won't. It's best to accept that, okay, maybe perhaps I need to move on from this and work on myself so that the next relationship I'm entering into, I will be better ready to handle it, you know. But to keep holding on, I'll change this person, I'll change this person, I'll change this person, I'll change this person, I'll change this person. You may not change the person. Nobody just, you cannot change anybody. You really cannot. People, especially grown-ups, do not change unless they want.
They want to, exactly. Why sharing this your story reminds me so much about my own experience with my past relationship, where I was holding onto this person for 4 years, and he, I was a loud lover, as you might know, because we we were part of the WhatsApp group then. I was a very loud lover. I talk about, oh, my boyfriend, he did this, he did that, always posting about him, talking about the things he did, the way he made me feel and things like that. And, you know, everything started falling apart. Things were not going well anymore. And there's this shame that comes with after I've painted this this magnificent picture of this person, how do I come now to tell everybody that this
This thing is
stuff
now
was not
working.
exactly how? And actually, as funny as this is the reason why a lot of people get stuck in situations that just remain there, because they just can't they can't just come out with the shame and just say, okay, you know previously this thing was good, but right now it's no longer good. They just don't know how to. So they just hold on to their, like you talked about, fantasies. They hold on to fantasies, either future We always do this thing of the future, like you were fantasizing about the wedding. I just want to be a married woman. And some of us fantasize about the past, like in my case, oh, when I started dating him, he was like this, he was like that. But is he like that now? We usually don't like to ask ourselves that question. We're either holding on to the present or the past. And then in the middle or the present, where we currently are, it's just all shades of shaggy. So I'm really glad we are having this conversation. So you actually answered my next question in a way, how this experience has shaped your dating life and your choices since then. I know you've talked about healing and just trying to look inwardly, because certainly if the person is horrible, it's a reflection of your internal. There was something going on within you. There was something about you that kind of attracted someone like that. So can you walk us through like your healing journey, or were there some things you did to just get over it and they are now in a much more better place that you can even talk about it now? What are some of the steps that you...
Okay, so what I did first of all was I cried. Yes, it's one very important step you must not miss. Hmm. Cry, shout, go to one place where nobody is there, just go to the beach, scream into the open space where nobody is, just let it all out, let out all the emotions. I did that. That really helped me heal. So after I did that, I then sat down and I'm like, okay, let's not lie to ourselves. How what was my part in making this happen? Like I said, was this to repeat itself? Okay, where was my contribution in this? I agree, he had his own fault, but where did I fuck up? And like I said, I pinpointed the parts that I knew that I was missing in not being able to compromise, not being able to communicate. I wrote those down. I knew that there were things, and also my self esteem. Honestly, I knew that I had to work on that because like you said, why was I attracting this kind of person, right? So I had to write it down and be like, these are my faults. It's it helps you to like be they say if someone else lying to you is okay, the worst thing you can do to yourself is lie to yourself. The only way you can grow is when you can truly, fully admit to yourself that, yes, I am faulty in this area. I don't actually know. That is where you can begin to grow. So I took a break off relationships, and then I decided that, okay, mm, if I was dealing with self esteem, how could I build self esteem? That's in increasing my value, right? So
Yeah.
rather than focus on like, okay, wedding, marriage, I was like, okay, I'm going to let go of all this fantasy of wedding or marriage. Now let me build myself. Let me start. Let me actually, if it, the kind of man I want a man that is valuable. Does a valuable man want a woman that is not valuable? Of course not. You understand? So, know that I want a man that is valuable, then I myself have to work on myself, become valuable. So, rather than sit here fantasizing about getting married, why not sit here and work on building that plan, that vision that God has placed within my heart? So I decided to focus more on building my business, focus more on building my vision, you know. And in doing that, in seeing myself make little progresses, my self-esteem is being is being built, right? Now it allows me even feel worthy when somebody of the kind of caliber that I want to approach me approaches me, because I know that if he's approaching me, he's going to meet as valuable as he is. He knows that he's not he's going to meet someone that can actually also be of value to him. This is not going to be a relationship where I'm I'm a burden to him, because that is where the disrespect starts coming in, And then I started reading books on learning how to communicate, reading books about marriage, reading books about relationship. even reading books about womanhood as itself, understanding myself as a woman, understanding what makes me a woman, why am I the woman in a relationship, what is my position as a woman in a relationship, and how can I communicate with my man in such a way that we will be able to agree. Now, the next thing I did was, now that's after working on myself. I know that yes, I'm working on myself. I know a, I'm still a work in progress, right? But a work in progress is better than someone that is just sitting somewhere and fantasizing about marriage. S- Now, doing that, knowing that I have worked on, I'm working on all these things. Now, honestly, I wrote it down. I actually did. I sat down like this and I wrote down every characteristics I desire, both physical, both mental, both spiritual, the kind of relationship that I know I am capable of achieving. You understand? Like I wrote kind of man I would envision, the kind of man I know that I would respect in the first place, so that there will not even be the issue of is there respect, there's no respect. It's already there because he already has those. Do you understand? Like it is down clearly. This is the kind of man I want. I want a man like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. I wrote it down clearly. I laid it in prayer before God. I God, this kind of man I want. Of course, I know that your will is the best. However you want it is the best. But this is what I want. This is how I want it to be. Now, the last thing I did for myself was I s- this was a practice that someone encouraged me to do, and as a Christian, I started doing it, and it really helped me. He said, um, oftentimes, especially as Christians, we seek for the love that only God can give in man. That is why our relationships fail. So I said setting out time for having just, I will just write, tell God I love you. Because I realized that that is the love. It is that love. It is from that overflow of that love that I can love another human being. Yes. If I don't have the love, they say God is love and love is God. So if I don't have that love of God, I will still there will still be that faultiness in my ability to love a man. You understand? I had to carve out that time to just learn to love God. You understand? So that now when I'm entering into a relationship, I'm not entering into a relationship from a point of neediness. I I really went for a lot of seminars. I've gone for like a lot of seminars, both online, offline, physically, attended classes, just to learn more about femininity, more about um marriage, more about communication. These are things that I didn't do before, honestly. Like are things that I should have done then when I was preparing for my wedding then, that I just took for granted. I would just, ruin that. But now I've become more conscious, like, okay, now I went through this period. During this time, there was no relationship. It was just, I just got old relationships, and I, that was a period of growth. Now I'm in a relationship with a man. Like we were just at this point, but just at the point of like just learning to like learn to love each other and understand each other. And my parents want to start bringing on this. When are you guys going to get married? And I dropped to mom, mommy, see, when I am going to get married, the dates that I am going to get married. Those were, but that was what I told her. I said, when I'm going to get married, is it that date? He said, "If say which date?" I said, that day. That's the day I will get married. I'll get married the day I'll get married. My grandma wanted to come and say, when are we going to carry? I said, Grandma, don't worry. You will carry my baby. Don't worry, that one is sure. When it is time for you to carry my baby, you carry my baby. You know? So I had to like, even like this special, when are we going? don't worry, he will come and see you when it's time for him to come and see. Right now, it's just a relationship where right now I now understand that in relationship is fit for companionship first before. Yes, marriage is companionship, like signing it in letters, but you need to understand that first of all, relationship is for companionship, right? Then even the children, even the every other thing that comes with it, it's just like I said, icing on the cake, the wedding, the fancy, it's all icing on the cake. But at the end of the day, the relationship is for companionship, and life can be done alone, and life can be done in companionship with someone else. Either way, you can still be successful or not. Doesn't really matter whether you get married. For some people, they will not. And it'll be fun and it'll be successful. And when you get to heaven, God will not hold it against them. So it's human beings. Yes, it's true. It's human beings that do that. As long as they are was towards God while they were on earth, God will not hold it against them. And then there are people who will get married and they'll be successful in it too. So
Yeah.
it's everybody, each to their own life, each to their own purpose. Just each of us at the end of the day will go to heaven and will get our know whether we live the best of our abilities. But whether you're married or married, single or whatever, the most important thing is to live a life where you feel happy and you feel like you're fulfilling your purpose. So those were the steps I took.
That you took.
Yes.
So based on all you've told us, I can see that I would like to say that that experience, that horrible experience, is one of the things I would like to call the bad things that make you good, because it gave you the opportunity to go on to make yourself a better person, gave you time to look inward, gave you time to study yourself, attend events, and just become an overall better person than you were 4 years ago.
Yeah, it did that. It really did.
So, would you say you have any regret?
None.
None. Okay.
I think I said that at the beginning that I thank God every day. None. Like I have nada regrets. I'm so glad it happened. Like I said, that's one of the reasons why I just keep it buried. Like I just always take it as okay. This was an experience that was meant to wake me up. It woke me up.
Yes.
Like yes, it was. That was what it was meant to do. It was meant to wake me up, awaken me so that I will be better prepared for that man, that real man that I'm supposed to get married to. You know, I will now know that okay, we're not, we are really in this marriage for the sake of marriage. So it was an awakening for me. It was a bad, like you said, bad. How did you put it? Yeah,
The bad things that make us good.
that make us good. Yeah, it was one of those things. It was really I have no regrets whatsoever. I mean sometimes there was almost sometime last year I almost started pressuring myself again because there's feeling
I'm old.
I'm old. Yeah. So I almost started pressuring myself again, like, oh, you're old. You're old. And then people now, this time, not my age mates, but people younger than me were getting married and inviting me for their weddings. So I'm like, I'm old, I'm old. Ah, okay. Ah, but then I'm like, no, breathe, breathe. 2020, I said this slogan 2020, that was 2024. Breathe. December is not the deadline for your greatness. So yes, I just had to remind myself like there's no deadline, like there's no deadline to get married. You're not like one schedule somewhere.
Yeah.
Say, yeah, it's just people with their own different opinions of the deadline in quotes. Some people have gotten married at 18 and some people have gotten married at 50. You get, and both successful marriage. None more, yeah, it's true now. None more successful than the other. You get, so there's no deadline. We're just sometimes we just put unnecessary deadlines on ourselves that no, God did not place on us. We just, as human beings, just concoct it. We say, if by the age of 30, you're not a millionaire. No, yeah, it's true. Or if by the age of 50, who says who? According to chapter what verses what is that in the Bible? Please point me to it. Like, where did they say that if you're not 50 and you don't, you get, it's just made up opinions and all of that, and we live by that. And so we put useless pressure on ourselves, or I call it useless, to keep up with that bravado of, oh yes, we have it all figured out. We don't. We're on a journey. There's no destination. There's no deadline. But there's no compulsory deadline. By this time, these dates, you have to have. If you have by that time, it's fine. But if you haven't, you keep moving till it's your time for your own. Just make sure that when it's your time, you are ready for it. That's all.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. This is a really inspiring session, and I hope our listeners will also find value from this. So before we wrap up, I just want to hear what advice you give women who are listening that feel pressured. Women in their 30s, 35, 40, 50, like you said, some marry at 50. Some might be like, some women are single moms, some are widows, some are divorcees, and they're just like, oh my God, my time is running fast. When will I find a man? Societal pressure is there. Parents are there, grandparents, everybody is like, find a man, find a man. And this sister is listening to this and she's listening to what you've just said. You might be saying, oh, my relationship had a lot of red flags, and you'll be like, it's because maybe you felt you still had time. Someone like me, half a man is better than no man. That kind of someone who is at that point right now. What would you tell to that? What would you say to that person?
Well, I would just tell the person to breathe. Just breathe. Just breathe. Breathe for a minute. Just breathe. Breathe and be honest with yourself. That's just it. Because at the end of the day, only you, no outside opinion. You are the only one that will face your marriage. You are the only person that will face it. Nobody will face it with you. No outside pressure. So just breathe and be honest with yourself. And know that being honest with yourself will hurt you, might hurt people around you, but it'll be better. There's something my friend will always say. He says that you should rather kill a dragon while it is still a baby dragon, so that it's not when it has grown into a big dragon that it's now impossible to kill, that you will now be fighting it. So just breathe and be truthful to yourself. It's fine. There'll be pressure, there'll be hurt, you cry. If you have to cry, cry. But if you know truthfully within yourself that this relationship, it's not good for me, it's not good for this person, just breathe and be truthful with yourself and just let it go and just move on. Even if you are the one that is at fault, just like we grow sometimes, sometimes we just have to grow and make mistakes and outgrow it and things like that. Not be by force, by fire. So that's just my advice for them, to just breathe and be truthful with themselves.
Wow. Thank you so much. So how can people connect with you? Like, they enjoy listening to you and they're like, okay, I want to get in touch with this lady, some of your projects, and how should they get in touch with you?
Contact me on Instagram, on LinkedIn. I'm Folasayo Falola. Across all social media platforms, I am Mystic Angel. That is
Okay.
MYSTIQ_angel. And I have other branches, Mystic Exquisite Designs and Mystic Idea Box, across TikTok, Twitter, IG. You can just find me there as Mystic Angel.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. So it's really been nice having this conversation with you. So I'm going to add all of those things in the description, your number and your social media handles, just so that people can stay in touch with you.
All right.
So thank you so much for sharing your story with us. It has really been inspiring, and I hope there's someone who has listened that would want to make a change in their life. And I look forward to seeing you grow and become even a much, much, much successful woman in everything that you do. Thank you so much. Thank you for owning your story on our podcast. So we look forward to talking with you some other time, hopefully. Indeed, Fola's story is a story of strength, determination, and resilience. It's a story of taking U-turns at the most unexpected points. It's a story that teaches us it's never too late to leave the wrong path and chart a new one for ourselves. It's a story of turning your lemons into lemonades. It's a story of me, of you, and every other African woman who has chosen to swim against the tides and take charge of her life. I'm so happy Fola has healed and has become a better person. And most importantly, she is owning her story. If you've listened to this podcast up to this point, I want to say a big thank you. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of the Owning It podcast. I hope Fola's story inspires you to take those bold steps you are so scared of taking. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, drop a comment, and share with your friends. Don't forget to also follow or subscribe to Owning It podcast wherever you get your podcast. Until next week when I come with another inspiring episode, I remain yours truly, God's Delight Agu, saying, go take those bold steps. Bye for now.